Tonight, my friends, we are entering into the Holy of Holies. We are not here to discuss trivialities or to speculate on the theories of men. We are here to confront the only reality there is, the reality of your own consciousness. And specifically, tonight I want to speak to you about the most difficult, yet the most royal path the soul must walk, the path of release. There comes a moment in the journey of every awakened soul when you are called to stand still, a moment when you must release what no longer belongs to you. Not in bitterness, not in anger, and certainly not in fear, but in a quiet, devastating power. It is the lesson that transforms the beggar into the king. It is the lesson of loving deeply, yet detaching completely. I know the hearts of many of you here tonight are heavy. You are carrying the burdens of memories, of relationships that have fractured, of people who have walked away, of dreams that seem to have turned to ash in your hands. You feel that if you let go, you lose everything. But I tell you, you are holding on to shadows, you are clutching at the wind, and until you open your hand and release the shadow, you cannot receive the substance. We must understand what true detachment is. In the world of Caesar, they tell you detachment is coldness. They tell you it is indifference, a hardening of the heart. But I tell you, spiritual detachment is not coldness, it is supreme clarity. It is not an absence of feeling, it is the mastery of feeling. It is the realization of your inner independence from the world of effects. When you care without clinging, when you bless without needing, when you can walk away in peace because you know who you are, that is not defeat. That is the victory of the spirit. You are not walking away from love, you are walking into freedom. And freedom is the very atmosphere of God. You see, we suffer because we are confused about the nature of love. We have been taught that love is something we get from another. We believe that our worth, our joy, and our aliveness depend on the validation of a person outside of us. And so, when that person withdraws, we feel we are dying. We feel the source of our life has been cut off. But this is the great lie. This is the illusion that keeps man asleep. Love that imprisons you was never love. Love in its divine form liberates. It does not beg to be chosen. It recognizes itself as the source. The moment you discover this truth, not intellectually, but as an experience in your own wonderful human imagination, you stop chasing what was never yours to keep. Let us look closely at this dynamic. You say you are in love with a person. But are you? Or are you in love with the state of consciousness they allowed you to enter? Every attachment begins as an act of imagination, often misplaced. You created an image in your mind. You saw a potential in them. You breathed your own life, your own breath of God into that image. You colored them with your own light. And then you called that image them. You fell in love with your own creation. And then, when the person in the physical world acted in a way that did not match the vision you painted, you suffered. You said, "They hurt me." But I tell you, the reflection in the mirror cannot hurt you. It can only reveal to you where you have placed your worship. Listen to the words of the scripture, specifically the first epistle of John. "We're loved because he first loved us." Who is this He? Do not look to a God in the sky. The He is your own imagination. It is the God within you. It is the Father you love because the nature of your being is love. Love is not a commodity you trade in the marketplace of relationships. It is the fundamental vibration of your existence. This means you cannot lose love. You can only lose the object upon which you focused it. But the love itself, that is you. It is your inheritance. When you fall in love, you are encountering the divine potential of your own being mirrored back to you through another. It is sacred, yes. But it is also dangerous if you forget the source. If you forget that the light on the moon comes from the sun, you begin to worship the moon. And when the moon goes dark, you think the light has died. But the sun remains, you are the sun. So, how do we detach? We detach by remembering. We remember that the love we felt was not from them, it was through them. They were the messenger, not the master. They awakened a vibration that was already dormant within you. The mirror never owned your beauty, it only revealed it to you so that you might claim it as your own. Where your attention goes, your life flows. Attention is the divine currency of the universe. It is the coin of heaven. And yet, look at how we spend it. We are like prodigal sons, wasting our substance on riotous living, not in physical parties, but in the riotous mental conversations of regret, anger, and longing. Most people, when they are hurt, keep watering the very seed that caused their pain. They replay the memories. They construct arguments in their minds. They ask, why did this happen? They stop the timeline of their own growth to build a monument to their sorrow. But detachment begins when you reclaim your attention. Science calls this the observer effect. The observer changes the observed. Scripture calls it faith. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not as he speaks with his lips, but as he thinks in the deep, secret chambers of his heart. When you withdraw your attention from a thought, it must die. It has no life of its own. It only lives because you feed it with your consciousness. The energy that once bound you to a person or a trauma returns home to you when you stop feeding the old story. You do not detach by fighting the emotion. Resistance only creates persistence. If you fight a demon, you give it your power. You detach by reassigning your focus. You shift your imagination from the state of the victim to the state of the resurrected. You must visualize yourself healed. You must see yourself peaceful. You must see yourself radiant, and you must feel that reality now, not tomorrow. I am is the name of God, not I will be. And this brings us to the great work of forgiveness. Unforgiveness is nothing more than an invisible attachment. You may have walked away physically thousands of miles, but if you carry resentment in your heart, you are still chained to that person spiritually. You are dragging their dead body with you wherever you go. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is not saying that what they did was right. Forgiveness is severance. It is the sword of consciousness cutting the cords of energetic dependency. When Jesus said on the cross, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," he was not merely being kind. He was performing a supreme act of spiritual survival. He was freeing himself from their state. He refused to let the ignorance of others dictate his vibration. He refused to react. If you react, you are enslaved. If you forgive, you are free. You forgive not because they deserve peace, but because you do. You cannot rise into the higher worlds of creation while holding stones of resentment in your pockets. You cannot receive the new blessing while your fists are clenched around the old injury. Every act of forgiveness returns your power to you. It pulls your energy back from the past, back from the imaginary arguments, back from the what-ifs. It brings you home to the now Bobaru. And the eternal now is the only place where God acts. It is the only place where miracles are conceived. Now, let us speak of emotional mastery. Do not mistake this for the suppression of emotion. We are not stoics, we are creators. Emotional mastery is the art of feeling fully without being consumed by the flame. When pain rises, and it will rise, breathe. Do not run from it. Do not numb it with distractions. Do not drown it in whine or noise. Observe it. Look at it. Pain, when witnessed by the silent presence of the I am, becomes light. But pain, when resisted, becomes shadow. The moment you simply allow the feeling to be without labeling it bad, without saying, this shouldn't happen, the vibration changes. The emotional charge loses its chaotic power and becomes a stream of energy. Science calls this coherence. When the heart and mind align in observation, chaos transforms into order. Spirit calls it surrender. When you say, not my will but thine be done, you are not submitting to a tyrant. You are saying, not my little ego's reactive will, but the divine intelligence of life within me. Let that take the lead. You detach by feeling everything and feeding nothing but peace. Remember, the storm will pass. Emotions are waves, they are not the ocean. You are the ocean. You are the depth beneath the movement. The waves crash and roar, but the deep remains undisturbed. You must find that depth. This is the final and greatest detachment, the remembrance of identity. When you forget who you are, everything and everyone can control you. A word from a friend can lift you. A word from an enemy can destroy you. You are a leaf blown by the wind. But when you remember that you are imagination itself, nothing can move you against your will. You were created in the image of God. That means you were never meant to live as a beggar of love, but as its source. Christ did not say, I am the vine and you are the branches if you are loved by others. No, he said, I am the vine, you are the branches. The same life that flows through the infinite flows through you. That means every time you attach yourself to someone out of desperate need, you deny your own divinity. You place the infinite within you into the hands of the finite outside of you, and then you wonder why you suffer. You are trying to put the ocean into a thimble. The key is simple, though the practice requires vigilance. Stop trying to be understood and start understanding your own nature. Stop chasing love and start embodying it. Stop asking for closure and start living in completion. Nothing outside of you can close what only you began within. You are whole now, not when they come back, not when they apologize, not when the world validates you. You are whole now. When you remember this identity, detachment becomes natural. It is no longer a struggle. You no longer fear losing people because you realize no one was ever yours to possess. We do not own people. We experience them. Every relationship is a chapter, not the whole book. It is not a cage. People come into your life as mirrors, as teachers, as triggers, as catalysts. They come to reveal a part of God to you. And when their purpose is complete, love releases them with grace. To cling to a chapter that has ended is to demand that the story never evolve. But evolution is the language of God. Expansion is the law of life. You must let the pages turn if you wish to see the glory of the ending. And when you do let go, you discover the great truth. You never lose love. You expand it. The person leaves, but the vibration remains because the vibration is you. The lesson matures. The love evolves from form to essence. Listen to me carefully now. This detachment I speak of, it is not a punishment, it is a purification. It strips away the illusion until only the truth remains. It shows you where your worship was misplaced. It shows you where your energy was scattered. It shows you where you traded your power for approval. It reveals who you truly are when there is nothing left to hold on to. That is why heartbreak is holy. It is the moment when the outer shell cracks so the inner light can emerge. It is the moment when God reclaims your attention. It is the divine call saying, return to me. You have sought love in the shadows, but love was the light casting the shadow. Love was within you all along. So how do you do this? How do you walk this path tonight? You rise in consciousness. You shift from possession to participation. You realize that people are experiences, holy experiences, but they are not possessions. You honor them, you love them, you bless them. But you do not imprison them, and you do not let them imprison you. In that freedom, love becomes real. It is no longer needy. It is no longer fearful. It is no longer conditional. Real love, divine love, can stand before departure and say, I wish you peace, even if that peace no longer includes me. Can you say that? Can you truly say that? When you can say that and mean it, you are free. That is God's love flowing through a human heart. That is the I am recognizing itself in the other, regardless of the role they play. Now, I want you to take a moment. Breathe. Close your eyes to this outer room. Withdraw your attention from the chair, from the person next to you, from the cares of the day. See yourself standing alone, but not lonely. See your chest open, your hands empty, your heart radiant. This is you whole. This is you free. This is you anchored in the divine stillness. Feel that presence. That is God within. That is the end of attachment and the beginning of awareness. The same law that created the galaxies beats in your chest. The same consciousness that formed the oceans thinks through your mind. You are not losing love, you are returning to the source of it. Detachment is not the end of relationship, it is the rebirth of right relationship. You can now love without fear. You can give without keeping score. You can walk away without guilt. Because you finally know that love is not a transaction, it is your nature. And when love becomes your nature, detachment becomes your power. For the only thing you must ever hold on to is peace. So if you are listening to me now and you are broken, longing, questioning, let this truth settle like light on dark water. You are not meant to chase what rejects you. You are meant to embody what fulfills you. You are not meant to plead for love. You are meant to be love. You are not meant to control anyone's path. You are meant to walk your own with grace. Detachment is the highest form of faith. It is the faith that what is meant for you cannot miss you. And what leaves you was never meant to stay. One day you will look back from a higher mountain and you will understand that the goodbye was not the ending. It was the correction. It was the redirection. It was the resurrection of your power. You will thank the loss for teaching you how to find yourself. You will thank the silence for showing you your own voice. You will thank the distance for revealing that love was never far away. It was closer than your very breath. And in that moment you will smile. Not because they came back, but because you came back. You came back to yourself. The mind detaches when the heart returns to truth. The heart heals when the spirit remembers its source. And the soul rests when it no longer needs to prove that it is lovable. So walk gently now. Forgive everyone. Bless everything. Detach completely. Live not as one seeking to be loved, but as love seeking to be expressed. For the moment you no longer need to hold on, everything good begins to find you. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 4:60-10. In stillness the cords of attachment dissolve. In stillness the heart remembers its wholeness. And in stillness, you become what you were always meant to be, free. There is a silence after release that feels like eternity breathing through you. Stay in that silence for a while. Do not rush to fill it with new noise. Let it wash away the last traces of struggle. It is here in this stillness that you begin to see how every ending was only a doorway. Every person, every loss, every ache, each one carried a fragment of the lesson that now makes you whole. They were never mistakes, they were mirrors. The mind calls it detachment, but the heart knows it as return. Return to simplicity, return to presence, return to what you were before you tried to become everything to someone else. There is only the steady rhythm of breath, the quiet awareness of being alive, the pulse of life itself moving through you without resistance. You no longer need to ask how to let go because you have the proof. The proof is this peace. You no longer need to demand answers because the silence has become your answer. And you no longer need to chase love because love has turned inward and found its home. So walk forward lightly with hands unclenched. Carry no titles, no stories, no battles. Just the certainty that you are enough. When you meet others, meet them as the open sky meets the horizon. Without boundaries, without expectation. Let kindness be your language. Let patience be your strength. Let quiet joy be your signature. Because the world does not need more noise. It needs more people who are calm enough to hear. You have become one of them now. You are the space through which peace can move. The calm in which others remember themselves. Now that we have cleared the weeds from the garden, now that we have released the old stories and the dead attachments, we stand before a great void. But do not be afraid of this void. This emptiness is not nothingness, it is potential. It is the blank canvas upon which the Spirit of God waits to paint. We have spoken of letting go. Now, we must speak of the act of conception. How is a reality born? How does a desire move from the mist of a dream into the concrete facts of your life? It begins in silence. There is a power in the universe greater than any force of armies, greater than the thunder of nations. It is a stillness that holds the key to all creation. It requires no words spoken to the outer ear, no frantic actions of the body. This power lies in the silence, a silence so profound it shapes the very fabric of reality. When you desire something, what is the first instinct of the natural man? It is to speak. It is to run to a friend and say, I want this, or to complain to a neighbor, I do not have that. We scatter our energy in words. We seek validation. We seek advice. We seek pity. But the greatest secret of the mystic is this: speak not of your desire to the world. Instead, enter the sanctuary of your own mind. The Bible calls this your closet. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. So Matthew 66. This is not a physical closet. It is the sanctuary of the mind. You shut the door of the senses. You turn your back on what the eye sees and what the ear hears. You retreat into the deep silence of your own being. Why silence? Because in the noise of the world there is contradiction. If you tell your friend you are going to be wealthy, he will look at your tattered shoes and laugh. If you tell your family you are healed, they will remind you of the doctor's report. Their doubt becomes your doubt. Their logic becomes your barrier. But in the silence, there is no second opinion. In the quiet of your own soul, no voice opposes you. You are the king in your own kingdom. In the silence, your wish takes root and grows, protected from the frost of skepticism. Silence is the fertile ground where belief flourishes. It is the womb of God. Just as a seed must be buried in the dark, silent earth to germinate, so must your desire be buried in the silence of your imagination. And in this silence, who is speaking? This brings us to the architect of your life, your inner voice. You may think you are silent when your lips are sealed, but I tell you, you are chattering incessantly. From the moment you wake until the moment you sleep, there is a conversation going on within you. You are talking to yourself, and this inner conversation is the most creative force in your universe. The inner voice is the architect of your reality. It is constant, it is persistent, and unknowingly for most of you, it is destructive. What are you saying to yourself when no one is listening? Are you arguing with a boss? Are you justifying your failures? Are you replaying a fight with a loved one? Understand this truth. Every word spoken internally carries creative power. Your inner voice acts as a directive force, issuing commands to the subconscious mind. The subconscious does not have a sense of humor. It does not judge. It simply acts. When you tell yourself, I am so tired, I am always unlucky, I will never get out of debt, you are signing a contract with that reality. You are the architect drawing a blueprint of a prison, and the subconscious, the builder, must build it. The key, therefore, to deliberate creation is to master this inner dialogue. You must align your inner speech with the outcome you seek. You must stop the old mechanical way of thinking and begin a new, disciplined way of speaking to yourself. This does not mean you force yourself into hollow affirmations. It means you change the premise of your conversation. There is a vast difference between saying, I want to be successful, and saying, I am successful. Listen to the nuance. I want implies lack. It implies you do not have it. If you say, I want, to the subconscious, it gives you the experience of wanting. You will continue to want and want and want. But I am is the name of God. I am is the creative sensation. When you say I am, you are declaring a fact. In the silence, you must conduct a new conversation. You must speak from the place of conviction. You must imply the fulfillment of your desire in your inner speech. If you were the person you want to be, how would you speak to yourself? Would you be anxious? No, you would be saying, thank you. You would be saying, it is wonderful. You would be walking in a mood of satisfaction. Your inner voice is the programmer. You must rewrite the code. This requires mindfulness. You must become a watchman at the gate of your mind. Pay attention to the habitual patterns. When you catch yourself in a negative spiral, stop. Do not fight it, but gently redirect it. Say to yourself, no, that is the old man speaking. I am the new man. I speak from the new premise. This inner voice is your constant companion. It shapes your experience more than any external circumstance. If you affirm abundance and prosperity in your secret thoughts, you cultivate a mindset that perceives opportunity. If you affirm lack, you blind yourself to the gold that lies at your feet. Now let us speak of clarity of purpose. In the silence, you must find clarity. Most people fail not because their desire is too great, but because their desire is too vague. They want happiness, they want more, they want better, but the subconscious mind is a precise instrument. It needs a specific blueprint. Clarity emerges from stillness. In the noise of everyday life, you are pulled in 1,000 directions. You want this, then you want that. You are influenced by what your neighbor has. But when you enter the silence, the distractions fall away. You can ask yourself the most important question a soul can ask. What do I really want? Not what do I think I can get? Not what do I think I deserve? What do I desire is the voice of God calling you to a higher state. Do not be ashamed of it, but you must define it. Imagine a beam of light. If it is scattered, it can barely illuminate a room. But if you concentrate that light into a single point, a laser, it can cut through steel. So it is with the mind. When you are clear about your purpose, every thought, every feeling, every inner word aligns with that purpose. You create a powerful, unwavering force. Stillness allows you to strip away the extraneous. It helps you identify the single most important goal. And once you have found it, you must commit to it. You do not need to know how it will happen. That is not your concern. The how belongs to the wisdom of the depth, the subconscious. Your job is the what. In the silence, you define the what. You refine it. You polish it until it shines in your imagination. And this brings us to the imagination, the workshop of God. In this silence, with your inner voice tamed and your purpose clear, you begin the work of the mental architect. You use the faculty of imagination. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is not the escape from reality. Imagination is reality. It is the creative force that shapes the world. Everything you see, this building, the clothes you wear, the chair you sit on, was once only an image in the mind of man. The imagination is the canvas, and your inner dialogue is the brush. When you retreat into silence, you are entering the workshop. Here, you are free from the constraints of the physical world. In the outer world, you may be poor, you may be sick, you may be lonely. But in the workshop of imagination, you are free to create any state you desire. You must learn to close your eyes and see a reality that is different from the one your senses dictate. The subconscious mind creates what it is shown. It does not argue, it does not say, but that is not true. It accepts the image you provide. If you provide it with an image of failure, it will create failure. If you provide it with an image of success, vivid and sensorial, it will move heaven and earth to bring that success to pass. This is why silence is so vital. It protects the image. If you talk about your dream too early, you expose it to the harsh winds of the world. You invite skepticism. You invite the rational mind to tear it apart. How will you afford that? You don't have the education. You are too old, but in the silence, those voices cannot reach you. In the silence, you are alone with the Father, and the Father says, all that I have is yours. So you must practice this withdrawal. You must practice the art of going within. Find a quiet space. It does not need to be a mountaintop. It can be your chair in the living room. It can be your bed before you drift to sleep. Close your eyes. Withdraw your attention from the sounds of the street, from the ache in your body, from the worries of tomorrow. Let the silence wash over you. It is a living silence. It is not empty. It is full of the presence of God. In this state, bring your clear purpose before your mind's eye and start to talk to yourself from the premise of its fulfillment. Hear the congratulations of your friends. Hear your own voice saying, I am so grateful. Feel the texture of the reality you are building. Do not struggle. Do not strain. The moment you use force, you have stepped out of the silence and back into the world of Caesar. In the spiritual world, effort is a sign of lack of faith. Creation is effortless. It is a yielding. It is a surrender to the wish fulfilled. You are planting a seed. You do not pound a seed into the earth with a hammer. You place it gently in the soil. You cover it. And you leave it in the dark, silent earth to do its work. Your mind is the soil. Your desire is the seed. The silence is the darkness where germination begins. Be deliberate in your imaginings. Be careful what you say in the secret chambers of your heart. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not what he thinks about, but what he thinks from. Are you thinking from the state of the wish fulfilled? Or are you thinking of it as something distant and separate? The silence allows you to bridge that gap. In the silence there is no time, there is no distance. There is only Hayar and Nobu. This is the power of the inner architect. You are building your house. Are you building it on the rock of clear, faithful inner speech? Or are you building it on the sand of chaotic, reactive thoughts? The choice is yours. Every moment of silence is an opportunity to choose. Remember, the world is but a mirror reflecting your inner state. If you do not like the reflection, do not fight the mirror. Change the face you are presenting to it. Change the conversation you are holding in the silence. When you master your inner speech, you master your life. When you befriend the silence, you befriend the source of all things. Do not let the outside world sway you, for it is merely a reflection of your past imaginings. It is dead wood. Do not give it your life. Turn within, return to the silence, return to the clear, sharp focus of your definite purpose. And there, in the secret place of the Most High, speak the new word, and that word shall not return unto you void, but it shall accomplish that which you please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto you sent it. This is the law. This is the way. This is the power of the silence. We have arrived at the precipice. We have cleared the garden of the weeds of the past through release. We have entered the silence of the mind and quieted the chatter of the senses. But now we must perform the great act. We must cross the bridge from the world of shadows to the world of substance. And what is that bridge? It is a bridge built entirely of feeling. You have heard it said that thoughts become things. But I tell you, a thought without feeling is like a cloud without rain. It passes over the dry earth of your life and leaves no harvest. It is the marriage of thought and feeling that births reality. This is the great secret of the ages, the secret that the ancients carved into stone and hid in the allegories of Scripture. We call this the law of assumption. The law is simple, yet it is demanding. It states that if you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and if you persist in that assumption, it must harden into fact. It does not matter if your reason denies it. It does not matter if the world around you mocks it. The assumption, though false if denied by your senses, if persisted in, will harden into fact. You may ask, how can I assume I am wealthy when the creditors are knocking at my door? How can I assume I am healthy when the pain is in my body? How can I assume I am loved when the bed is empty? You do it because you understand the nature of the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the male aspect of God. It is the sower of the seed. The subconscious mind is the female aspect of God. It is the womb of creation. The womb does not question the seed. It does not say to the farmer, why did you plant corn? I preferred wheat. No. It accepts the seed, it nurtures it, and it reproduces it 1,000-fold. But the seed must be fertilized, and the fertilization of the seed of thought is emotion. The subconscious mind is the silent, faithful servant. It has no eyes to see the outer world. It only sees what you show it on the inside. It cannot distinguish between a physical reality and an imaginal act. If you in your imagination can construct a scene that implies you are already the man or woman you want to be, and if you can thrill yourself with the reality of that scene, the subconscious accepts it as the truth, and once accepted, it begins to move the mountains. It influences your behavior, often without your knowing. It influences the behavior of others. It reshapes the events of the world to match the pattern you have impressed upon it. But you must be careful. You cannot plant a seed, dig it up every morning to see if it has roots, and expect a harvest. That is what you do when you look for signs. Signs follow, they do not precede. You do not look at the world to see if it is working. You look into your own heart. Do you still feel the want? If you feel the want, you have not assumed the wish fulfilled, because you cannot want what you already have. If I gave you $1 million right now, placed it in your hands, would you sit there and say, I hope I get $1 million? No, you would feel the weight of it. You would feel the relief of it. You would feel the joy of it. That feeling is the key. You must learn to live in the end. What does it mean to live in the end? It means you go to the end of the matter mentally. You do not think of your goal, you think from your goal. If you are thinking of a new home, you are seeing it as something separate from you, something in the distance. You are seeing it as an object of desire. But if you are thinking from the new home, you are looking out of its windows. You are touching its walls. You are seeing your friends sitting in your living room. You are viewing the world from that vantage point. To live in the end is to inhabit the state of the wish fulfilled. Let us be practical. How do we do this? You must use your sensory imagination. The Bible tells the story of Isaac and his two sons, Esau and Jacob. Isaac was blind. He could not see the outer world. He represents you, your consciousness, when you close your eyes to the physical facts. Jacob wanted the blessing of the father, but the blessing belonged to the firstborn Esau. Esau was a hairy man. Jacob was a smooth-skinned man. Jacob clothed himself in the skins of a goat to deceive his father. When Isaac felt him, he said, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And because he felt the reality of Esau, he gave the blessing to Jacob. This is not a story about deception. It is a story about creation. You are Jacob. You want the blessing, the reality of a state that is not yet yours, Esau. You must clothe yourself in the feeling of that state. When you close your eyes, you must deceive your own senses. You must make the inner world so real, so vivid that you can feel the ring on your finger. You can smell the sea air of your vacation. You can hear the voice of your friend congratulating you. You must give it all the tones of reality. And the most important tone is the tone of naturalness. This is where many fail. They get excited, they get manic, they try to force the feeling. But true ownership is natural. If you were truly married to the love of your life, you wouldn't be running around screaming in excitement every hour of the day. You would feel a deep, quiet satisfaction. You would feel a sense of peace. You would feel natural. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is often simply the feeling of relief. It is done. Thank God, it is done. Rest in that relief. Now let us speak of faith. The world has confused faith with religious dogma. They think faith is believing in a creed. But Scripture defines faith clearly in the book of Hebrews. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Do you hear that word? Substance. Faith is not a wisp of smoke. It is substantive. It is the actual spiritual substance of the thing you desire. When you have faith, you have the thing itself in consciousness. Faith is the loyalty to the unseen reality. It is the refusal to accept the evidence of the senses when that evidence contradicts your desire. You look in the mirror and you see age, but your desire is vitality. Faith closes the eye of the body and opens the eye of the spirit to see youth. You look at your bank account and see zero, but your desire is abundance. Faith walks in the feeling of wealth, knowing that the bank account is just a shadow that must change to reflect the new object casting the shadow. You must become brazen. I call it brazen impudence. You must be like the woman in the parable who went to the unjust judge. She pestered him. She would not take no for an answer. And because of her persistence, he gave her what she wanted. Your consciousness is the judge. Sometimes old beliefs are stubborn. They are the unjust judge. They tell you, you are not good enough. It's too late. It's impossible. You must persist. You must return to the state of the wish fulfilled again and again. Not because you are afraid it won't happen, but because you are enjoying the feeling that it has happened. You drink from that well until your thirst is quenched. And when the thirst is quenched, when you no longer feel the desperate need for the thing because you feel you already have it, then you know the seed has been planted. The pregnancy has begun. And then comes the time lag. This is the test of the soul. There is always an interval of time between the impression and the expression, between the fertilization of the egg and the birth of the child. During this interval, the world may not look different. In fact, things might even seem to go wrong. Do not be deceived. This is the breaking of the shell. If you plant a seed, the earth must be disturbed for the sprout to emerge. Chaos often precedes creation. Do not panic. Do not abort the child by running back to the state of doubt. Hold fast. Stand still. Be still and know that I am God. That I am is your own awareness. It is the only God there is. There is no other creator. You are not a puppet on a string pulled by a distant deity. You are the operant power. When you realize this, you stop begging, you stop bargaining. You simply appropriate. You appropriate the state of health. You appropriate the state of love. You wear them like a garment. And just like a new pair of shoes feels tight at first, this new state of consciousness might feel strange. You might feel like an imposter. Who am I to be wealthy? Who am I to be adored? But walk in those shoes. Wear them today, wear them tomorrow, and soon they will fit you perfectly. Soon, you will forget you ever wore the old shoes of poverty and loneliness. You will become the person you have imagined. This is the law of assumption. It is the royal road. And remember, the subconscious mind is not just a personal hard drive. It is connected to the infinite. It is the gateway to the universal mind. When you impress a desire upon your subconscious, you are not just influencing your own body, you are influencing the entire vast world. You are moving people you have never met. You are arranging meetings, coincidences, accidents. The world is a stage and the people are merely players. They have no choice but to play the parts you have written for them in your imagination. If you write a script of rejection, they will reject you. If you write a script of adoration, they will adore you. Do not blame the actors. They are only reading your lines. Rewrite the script. Rewrite it in the silence. Feel it in the depth of your soul. Now I want to give you a challenge for tonight. When you go to bed tonight, do not just drift into unconsciousness. The time just before sleep is the most magical time of the day. It is the time when the door between the conscious and the subconscious is cracked open. As you lie there, in that state akin to sleep, drowsy but still in control of your attention, I want you to perform a simple act. Construct a scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Make it short. Make it simple. Perhaps it is a handshake, a friend shaking your hand and saying, "Congratulations." Perhaps it is the feeling of a wedding ring on your finger. Perhaps it is the feeling of sleeping in a new home. Whatever it is, enact it. Do not watch it like a movie screen. Be in it. Feel the hand, feel the ring, smell the air, and then repeat it. Loop it. Do it over and over again until it takes on the tones of reality, until you feel that you are actually doing it. And then slip from that scene into sleep. Fall asleep in the assumption. If you do this, you are instructing the subconscious for the next 8 hours. While you sleep, the great creative forces of the universe will be working to bring that scene to pass. You will wake up in a different world. It may look the same to the eye, but the structure of it has changed. The vibration has changed. You have moved into a new timeline. Do this night after night. Not as a chore, but as a lover meeting their beloved. For your ideal is your beloved. You are merging with it. And when you wake, carry that perfume with you, the perfume of the wish fulfilled. If doubt arises during the day, remember the scent, remember the feeling. Say to yourself, I have seen it, I have felt it, it is done. That is faith. That is power. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not a victim of your past. You are not a victim of what they did to you. You are the resurrection and the life.